So we're in Copenhagen at DTW23. I'm here with Josie Smith, who is Chief Architect at BT Digital, and Thomas Dücke, who is COO at BT Digital. Thanks very much both for joining us today. Now, like many other operators, BT is looking to simplify its IT architecture. Josie, can you tell us a bit about that process and what kind of impact it's going to have?
Yeah, I mean, we have got such a huge landscape in our organisation today. Over 2,400 applications is where we started. And you can imagine the complexity that has on our ability to serve our customers, our ability to have simple processes for our colleagues. So we embarked on an outcome-driven approach to look at how we could simplify. And our vision is 2,400 to less than 500 applications in our organisation, a significant cost reduction of 50%. And I think the difference that's going to have, because one of the things we had to think about is what do we need for the future? We need modern, agile, modular architecture that we can put together, really good architecture at the top end that allows us to be very, very focused on serving our customers in the way that they want to be served, but actually with the benefit of being able to have the efficiencies of broadband once, and how we develop that inner source, that building block ability, so that we can get the efficiencies of building once, not many, for our customers. So that's the ambition. And a year on, I think we can safely say that for the first time in BT history, we're below 2,000 applications at the moment. It's been a huge year for us in next level delivery. And I'm super proud of all of those people that have managed that in our organisation. So that's where we are with our architecture.
What Josie explained is at the core of it, but the way we're approaching is, and you ask about the process, and how we're doing it is an end-to-end transformation that modernization that we're looking at. Starts with the product and our portfolio and the simplification. The architecture at the core, we're building all the new architecture and migrating customers to the architecture, which then allows us to, as Josie said, to decommission and get close down our legacy estate. And we're well through in this journey, but like Josie said, we started, from a big field, that we have to shrink in terms of legacy.
And Thomas, what will this mean for the way that BT Digital can interact with key partners? Does it make it easier then to engage with, say, the major cloud companies?
Well, absolutely. And the thing is, when some of the strategic alliances that we forged through this process, are hugely important imperative in actually delivering the vision that Josie said. We're working with Salesforce, we're working with Google. We're having a best of breed approach. So we have relationships with all the hyperscalers, with a lot of the strategic partners like ServiceNow. They're at the core of our architecture. And to Josie's point, we try to build it once. We're actually working very closely with them in how we actually deliver and how we actually build this architecture to make sure that what our businesses need, ultimately our customers want, that we build this in such a modular way that we get as much as possible out of the box, that we drive as least customization as possible, and that very close engagement and collaboration with our partners is absolutely crucial.
And it's all based on a composable architecture, as we've learned here, ODA, Open API. It allows us to work with our suppliers much easier because they're also compliant to those standards as well. And it's allowing us to put those building blocks together where we are building once, and we're seeing huge benefit.
Okay.
But we're not stopping there. What we're doing with these relationships, in these partnerships, is also that we also look in joint value creation. So we're not just looking, what these partners deliver for us and our transformation, but also how can we jointly create value together. You might have seen the announcement that we've done with AWS, where we engaged, in joint go-to-market activities worth £500 million. And we're working similarly with others together in that area. So we're driving a much stronger, much closer relationship with those partners.
And Josie, just come back what you mentioned there, the use of open APIs and the the Open Digital Architecture or ODA. We've heard at this event about how an increasing number of operators are engaging with that particular architecture approach. Where's BT on this, and what kind of impact does that have in the way you work?
So we signed up for ODA about 3 years ago. And it was at the time we were looking at how do we have a modular composable architecture. What it allows you to do, and I'll just give you one example, you can have because it's composable and you have separation between components, you can swap things in and out. That's one thing. So it's no longer a monolith that's hard to break apart. You've got the benefit of agility. But the other thing that was fundamental for us was in that separation, we can have very simple product catalog and customer order journeys, and the complexity of the production aspect of that, the technical orchestration, can be taken away from the customer. Now you've got a simpler order journey, fantastic customer experience there for your orders, with the complexity built once. And I think that's the benefit. With open APIs, you've got very standard interfaces that talk to those components, again, making it easier to swap different technologies as new technologies come along. But that very standard interface, that means that any supplier that is effectively compliant to that, well, it's plug in.
Right. This is real world stuff. This isn't just like terminology and ticking boxes. This is making an impact.
We trained our engineers and our solution architects in Open API, which the TM Forum provides that kind of training. And we're just working through to accreditation now, actually learn the lessons of some of the implementation of ODA.
Now, also, of course, hot topic here, artificial intelligence, been talked about for years, but it's really at the top of a lot of agendas right now. Thomas, how does AI and maybe Gen AI specifically play a role in what BT Digital is doing?
Well, it plays a significant role. First of all, we are already using AI in the organization throughout. We have a dedicated team of specialists, in data and AI that are focused on purely exploiting, the opportunities, continuously learning and testing. It is particularly Gen AI, but also other. It is not a mature technology. So our approach to it is that we're testing, we're learning, we're adopting, and we're iterating, as we go. So a very different approach to how you have deployed typically, technology in our industry. And I mean, automation or using the power of AI and Gen AI is going to make a significant difference. And we are using it already to improve what we do today, but we also need to start thinking, take a step back and say, do we need to reimagine how operating model of the future looks like? Many companies, start thinking about, about a zero ops approach. Do we need, operations in the way that is today, call center, staffed, as today. Now, these questions need to be asked. Do we really need all the engineering resources, today in the future? Testing takes today weeks, months often, which can be done in minutes. So these are all the things, we're exploring today, and we're building use cases, but we're already doing things. For example, our OpenReach unit, so for those of you not in the UK, which is basically owns the network, the physical network in the UK, they are rolling out the largest infrastructure project currently in the UK, rolling out fiber throughout the country. And we're using Gen AI and deep understanding of geographical information, health and safety information to actually direct our engineers to the right place, and to actually optimize the rollout. It saves tens of millions of pounds a year. Or if you look at the right matching, of customer problems to the right capabilities, where we're using AI to actually match the right capability within BT that could be an advisor, in one of our call centers, but also others, to the right customer problem. Or propensity in our B2B market, in how people, how we actually sell to customers, how we get much quicker to provide the customer the solution to solve their business problem. So it's already, so we already have baked into our plans to generate benefits of close to half £500 million. And if you listen to some of the talks, particularly from our Chief Digital and Innovation Officer, but also others, the opportunity, we're at a crossroads at the moment for a true and superpowered AI transformation. The opportunity is significantly higher than what we have planned at the moment.
And Josie, this must be impacting the way you think about how you and your team can be working in terms of like organizing the IT assets and making use of the data that you have access to.
Absolutely. I mean, I think as Harmeen mentioned in her keynote, blink and you'll miss this opportunity, and it is a real revolution. We're looking at things, how do we architect differently? It's definitely changing the architecture. But I think the composable aspect of it means that it can change and evolve. I mean, that's the brilliance of the ODA, really. But yeah, we're doing things like Copilot, our own architecture function. If you need some guidance and patterns and templates, you no longer have to speak to a person. You can get that from your own chatbot. We haven't named it yet. But also, actually, what's been really inspiring here at TM Forum is some of the moonshots and catalysts. I think there's over 50 catalysts, and the moonshots as well on top of that have covered everything from how we could look at innovation on top of our network for environment, sustainability. I've been judging metaverse innovation as well, and it's not until when you come here you realize how much we can actually do together as an industry in some of these catalyst and moonshots there. It's about the industry coming together to think about how we should innovate, and if there's one thing I would say to the industry right now is to get involved in some of these things, not just when you come to the conference once a year, but practically as an ongoing basis, because it's blown my mind really to see what we can actually achieve together.
Okay, because innovation is a term that's bandied around a lot, but it's good. You can actually see sort of the tangible impact
really
of
stuff.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Thomas, within BT Digital, there's a unit that's dedicated to sort of new service or product innovation. Is that right?
Yes, we are looking actually not only at modernizing, which has an absolute focus, modernizing the organization, but we have a unit called etc. In the digital division that works across the group. To actually look at build on the strength of our core business and look at adjacencies, that we're going to market. We're looking at health services. They work with fintech, working with drones, and they're working on some other very very cool stuff that are probably not allowed to mention at the moment. And this is actually building on the core strength. So it's not just something out there we're playing around. It's actually really building on our core capability. And this unit has been created about a year and a half ago, and will create significantly revenue streams. So we're not just looking at modernizing, we're also looking at how do we grow, how do we use that strengthened core and actually then grow the business beyond that through platform thinking. Data and AI is a huge topic. Like I said, etc. is driving a lot of those ideas and very product driven approach.
Okay. And I guess this ties in with what Harmeen mentioned, that you can't cut your way to growth. You have to actually develop new things and find new ways to build a business. And that sounds like what you're doing at BT Digital as well. So fantastic.
Absolutely. It also requires a little bit of different approach in how we do things. For example, the AI and Gen AI thing. It is. We're testing stuff, we're trying things, blink it or miss it, it's just, the perfect description. Because if we wait until somebody builds business cases and the benefits of automation are crystal clear. Here's just how do we maximize, how do we use the tools that are out there, Firefly, a code whisperer that Josie mentioned, Copilot, all these things, and actually adopting it, trying it, and then iterating and figure out the best way of how we can create benefits for our customers first and foremost, but also for our colleagues that serve those customers, and ultimately for the business. One of my colleagues says, if it's good enough for today, try. It's good enough to try. We want to take it a little bit further. There's no try. There's just do. Yeah. like Yoda said.
Well, that sounds like a good mantra, and hopefully as you experiment with more things and innovate at BT Digital, we can hear about it on Telecom TV as well. So Thomas, Josie, thanks very much for joining us
Thank you
today
very much.
and bring us up to date with what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.